Upon returning to the Courageous, they hurriedly carried the Zemurian ore they had obtained to where George was waiting. So, this is a Zemurian ore crystal, huh? It's even cooler than I thought it'd be. You brought back a real treat this time. Haha. We couldn't believe our eyes when we saw it at first. It does not seem as big as it seemed inside of the temple. So, what do you think? Think you'll be able to make a new weapon for Valimar? It's hard to say, honestly. It seems really difficult to work with, and then there's the matter of getting enough of it to make something with. I feared as much. I find it hard to imagine this will be enough to make a Tachi large enough for Valimar to use in combat. I doubt this will be enough for Professor Schmidt to start helping out either. Well, all we can do is gather a lot more. There are 3 other spirit shrines in eastern Erebonia. Just get through the other trials and you should have enough. You make it sound so easy. Feel free to volunteer if you have any brighter ideas. Like Elliot said, we'll just have to do what we can and gather a lot more. This will be a piece of cake. Still, what we've got now is enough for me to get the feel on how to work with it. And to do that, I'm going to need to set up a proper workshop on the ship. Then by all means, do so in this area here. My brother would have no objections. Thank you, Your Highness. Yes, thank you. I'll get right to work. If you get a chance, would you mind helping me out, Rean? You'll be the one who has to carry whatever we end up making into combat, so it'd help to have you here. I'd be happy to. I want to turn this into a workshop for creating Valimar's Tachi. If you get a chance, I'd really appreciate if you could help me out. Choosing to help George make his workshop will cause the main story to advance. As a result, all unfinished quests will disappear. Thanks. Well then, do you think you could bring me my tools from over in the Orbital Factory? Can do, George. George and Rean then began remodeling the ship's hold into a workshop. While the process was more than a little exhausting, it didn't take long before they were finished. Whew, this should work for now. Okay, let's see if we can process this Zemurian ore. Ready? We're going to start by reinforcing Valimar's existing blade, right? Kind of your way of prepping for the real thing. That's the idea, yeah. I just want to get a feel for what it's like to work with, and it'll give you a stronger sword to use in the meantime. Let's get to work. You know this stuff is limited, right? So like putting a coat of paint on the blade I already have seems like kind of a waste. Why don't we just go get some more of it? There's 3 more shrines, and then just make 1 blade. I don't want 3/4 of a Tachi, man. I want a full weapon. Together, they worked on reinforcing Valimar's existing blade. Despite the task being simple compared to making an entirely new weapon, working with the Zemurian ore was hard even for George. Rean and the other members of Class VII, as well as even Valimar, helped where they could and supported him in his efforts. Eventually, Christmas Eve. We're going to get a weapon for Christmas. Whoa. Valimar, your new blade is quite impressive. Yeah, it came out pretty well. Although the base weapon is still the same as a Soldat's. Unlike a Soldat's blade, however, I can feel mana radiating from it now. I expect it'll be able to hold a significantly keener edge than before. I'm amazed you managed to process that stuff. A hunk of crystal like that must have been a real pain to work with, huh, George? Did you use my whole entire crystal on that sword, I'm going to be very angry if you did. Well, if anyone could, it's you. I wouldn't have been able to do much without it, or with it, if not for you guys' help. That we got this far is a real testament to our combined efforts. I'm not sure our contributions can even compare to what you've done, and I'm grateful for it. I'm sure the battles ahead are going to go a lot more smoothly thanks to this. We're lucky to have you on our side, George. Now all you gotta do is take it into a real fight and see how it feels. Right, we should get Valimar to give it a couple of good swing.
Oh, you're all still here.
Toa?
What's wrong? It's not like you to be so flustered. It's terrible. We got an emergency report in from the Twin Dragons Bridge. It's Celtic. Celtic?
What happened to Celtic?
It was set on fire by the Kreutzen Provincial Army.
What? What?
This is awful. Why would they do such a thing? The Grand Market seems to have taken the brunt of it too. Unbelievable. How could the Provincial Army do this to the people they're meant to protect? I can't believe this. Let's have a look around town. We should pay a visit to both the Market Manager and the 4th Armored Division too. Not Louise, too. Excuse me, but how's she been holding up? Has she been given medical treatment? Father Zerbal's already tended to her, but apparently the blow to her head was so strong, he can't be sure if she'll make it. Louise, please open your eyes, I'm begging you. You two seem like good friends from what I've seen. Yeah, we got to know each other from my visits to the Weathercock whenever I was in town for work. It seems like the wrong time to make a joke about the name of the bar, but it is a horrible name for a bar. But I'm not going to be able to do anything for her staying here. Let's go. We need to see how things are elsewhere. Right. I'm gonna warn you, this part of the story is pretty emotional. It actually gets pretty heavy.
I hope Louise will be okay.
They seem to have enough medicine at least, but...
Oh, hello. I somehow managed to keep this place from burning down, but Louise was hit on the head by some falling debris during the attack, and if I'd known things would end up like this, I would have forced her to take the day off. It's not your fault, Margot.
No!
Wow, it is ruined. It is wrecked. You all made it, I see. I've seen a lot during my time as a reporter, but this is the first time I've been left speechless. An atrocity like this can't be forgiven. Nobility or not, there's no excuse for such carnage. We'd be failures as people if we let something like this pass. I'll do whatever I can to make sure this doesn't get covered up.
Wasn't that the rest area?
Yeah, it was.
People used to play music there.
Elliot. Dad, Major Neidhart. I see the RMP is here as well. Thank you for coming, everyone. I presume you were all contacted? That's right, we came as soon as we heard. Is this the work of who I think it is? It's as you suspect. This was done by none other than the Croatian Provincial Army soldats. That's absurd. For what reason? I can't believe they'd willingly destroy the land they're meant to protect. Unfortunately, it's very real. Apparently, they broke through a gap in our line of defense at the Twin Dragons Bridge. According to the report, there was a number of Jaegers within their ranks too. Duke Alberea has been hiring the northern Jaegers throughout this war. They were behind the attack on Ymir too. That explains things. Raising towns like this is one of their specialties. And they had soldats supporting them too. This couldn't have ended any other way. We arrived on the scene as fast as we could and managed to fight them off while evacuating the townsfolk, but they had already retreated towards Breahard and formed a defensive line by the time the 4th Division arrived. The townsfolk readily accepted us after the provincial army was forced to retreat from Twin Dragons Bridge. It's clear this was intended to punish them for that as an example to others. That's no excuse for what they've done here. This reminds me of what Rufus and Vita said, actually.
I beg to differ. The presence of soldats units on a battlefield makes a tremendous difference. What they may lack in firepower and armor compared to tanks, they make up for in mobility and versatility. But more important than even those factors is the psychological impact they have on our opponents.
We're only human. As such, we are as captivated as we are terrified of giant beings bearing human form.
Rufus said that? The fear this attack has instilled in the townsfolk seems to be a testament to those words. Thanks to the soldats, it's safe to say they succeeded in their aim. Even we of the RMP felt somewhat powerless before them, especially since we couldn't prevent that fatality. Wait, someone passed away? The market manager, I'm afraid. Eyewitness reports state that he got caught in the debris while aiding the townsfolk evacuation. That's awful. No, that can't be. We still haven't paid him back for all his help. Regardless, we plan to strengthen our defenses here while preparing for countermeasures against Breahard. I advise that you keep your distance from Celtic for a while. Do engrave this horrid sight into your minds, however. This is no mere minor conflict. It's an all-out war. Never forget that. Dad. This is kind of the turning point of the game or the whole series, to be honest, where, like, there was some gravity to the first game, but a lot of the first game was you were just students, right? I don't want to spoil it in case people don't watch, but even at the end when what happened and the war started, even then it never hit home because the emphasis at that point and then on you was the attack on your school and then being separated from your classmates and then finding your classmates again. And then it was like, well, let's see what we can do to help people. And there was no grand, like, there was nothing like this where there were repercussions. There was like an actual change in the world. There was like a drastic moment where you go, oh wow, things could actually like completely change as this game progresses, as the series goes on. And this is that moment where you start to realize that you are in a war and there are going to be consequences and things are going to change. And it's more than just you and your friends and your classmates. Like there's an actual... So... No. Why, Otto? Please come back to me. I can't believe this. You're all from Thor's, correct? He fell victim to one of the Soldot's attacks while evacuating the townsfolk. I'm afraid... Well, I did everything in my power to save him, and yet... We heard... How could this happen? The market manager's always done everything he could to protect this town. But now he's went and gave his life for us. No one loved this town more than Otto. This just goes to prove that. Why did things end up like this? What are we even supposed to do? Not gonna lie, I'm almost crying right now, and I knew all this was coming. I played this game before and I knew this was coming, and I'm still like almost getting weepy-eyed here. Rean! Where's my family? They're all safe, right? Becky, you go. We told you to wait on board, didn't we? Sorry, but she insisted. You expect me to sit a boot knowing what's happened to my home? My family's safe, right? What about the market manager? Your family's alright. We saw them at the church. I can't say the same for the market manager, though. Oh, no. You're having a laugh, huh? Wait. I've got it, Rean. I'll make sure she returns to the Courageous. Thanks. We'll make our way back first, then. We have a lot to discuss regarding where to proceed from here. Indeed. After leaving Celtic in the Imperial Army's hands, they all went to the Courageous. Processing both Otto's death and the state of Celtic proved to be difficult, but they had to face it. It was only after Becky and Hugo had returned that they decided to take off.
Still, this war seems to resemble the War of the Lions more by the minute. History tells us towns were set ablaze all across the country back then as well.
Really?
That is said to have been the case, yes. Although the situation back then is very different compared to now.
True enough. This war's been relatively bloodless in comparison, so something like this happening is a big deal.
Still, in the long term, this is bound to hurt the Alliance's cause more than it will help. That's why I'm finding it so hard to picture that Rufus would give the go-ahead to do it.
I think it's safe to say it was just Duke Alborea doing his own thing. He really seems to hate how Duke Cayenne's higher in practice than him in the Alliance.
I'm sorry, but this is where we part ways. Captain, please let me disembark somewhere nearby.
What? You can't be serious.
You're not thinking of trying to settle things with your father alone, are you?
I can't believe you would even entertain the thought. You need to take a deep breath and calm down before you do something you'll regret, Eustace.
How dare you? Don't act like you know the first thing about what I'm feeling right now. As a member of the Albarea family, I have a duty to stop my father. You have no right!
We have every right to interfere, Eustace. This is clearly too much for one person to handle alone.
Machias is right. You need to calm down, and we need to think this over together.
Yeah, this isn't like you at all.
As your classmates and friends, it's not hard to imagine how terrible you must be feeling right now. But that's exactly why we want to help you, and I believe we can.
We should discuss how to approach this matter together.
That's a Class 7 I know.
Still, this isn't a matter to be taken lightly. Your actions could have a profound effect on the war from here on out. If you're going to get yourselves involved, you're going to need to be prepared for the potential consequences. But I'm sure you guys know the deal at this point, right?
We fully understand what you're saying. So far, we've tried to keep our interference with the war itself to a minimum. However, what just happened in Celtic was an act of terrorism against innocent civilians. We can't turn a blind eye to that.
You're right.
We're all agreed there. The market manager did a lot for us, both during our field study and when we were lying low there after the war broke out.
I'm of the same opinion. He may be head of one of the 4 great houses, but the Imperial family can still make him answer for his crimes. So please, use my position and this ship however necessary to bring him to justice.
Thank you, Your Highness.
All right, I think it's time we come up with a solid plan. We can't allow Duke Albarea to do anything so inhuman ever again.
Thank you.
Huh? Is there a call coming through? Where's it coming from? Bear with me a moment. This can't be right. It's coming from an airship owned by the Noble Alliance.
How can that be?
They must have sneaked into range. What should we do, Toa? I think I can shake them off if I try.
No, put the call up on the screen.
It's a pleasure to see you all again, especially you, my dear brother. And Princess Alphen is with you too. Truly, it's an honor, Your Highness.
Rufus?
Goodness.
Why are you calling us?
I apologize for calling so abruptly. Rest assured, I have no intention of attacking or otherwise harming you. I'm calling because there is information of which I'd like to make you aware. Due to the rather sensitive nature of my message, this feed is a private communique from my personal airship.
What could you possibly have to tell us?
Does this concern Celtic by any chance?
It does indeed. I imagine all of you have seen what befell the town yourselves. The attack on Celtic was instigated by Duke Albarea alone. We of the Noble Alliance do not in any way condone it. If you plan to confront the Duke about his actions, you need fear no interference from us.
Huh? Oh, I get it. You want us to take him out, don't you?
Surely not.
The bulk of the Kreutzen Provincial Army is already under my control. The attack was carried out by a small contingent of soldiers who remain loyal to my father. At present, they've walled themselves up in Auroch's fort along with him. With the aid of the Imperial Army, you ought to be able to take the fortress without much trouble.
This is insane.
They're not as well trained as the ones who are serving you, so you don't mind losing them, do you? I'm impressed at how cold-heartedly objective you can be, Mr. Chief of Staff.
Bet you'd love it if we ended up killing each other, so you'd have nothing to worry about, huh?
Nothing of the sort, Miss Clausel. Still, there's no denying my father's actions will be a millstone around the neck of the Alliance going forward. But considering the position I hold, I can't very well publicly oppose him. And that's why I figured I might bring up the matter with all of you. Well, I've said my part. Oh, and Eustace, This is an intensely family-centric affair, as I'm sure you realize. I'm very curious how you'll approach it. Well then, if you'll excuse me, I suppose I'll hope and pray for your success this once, as a sitting member of Thor's Board of Directors.
Nothing like using other people to do your dirty work.
There remains a real possibility that this is a trap.
Still, now we know the Alliance wants something done about Duke Alberea as much as we do. This could be the best chance we're ever going to get to stop him from wreaking more havoc.
I can't allow my father to commit any more of these unforgivable crimes. I will go to Auroch's fort and apprehend Duke Alberea myself. And it would mean the world to me if all of you were to lend me your aid.
Do you even need to ask?
Of course we will. We'll be with you every step of the way.
You gotta admire how cunning, not devious, just cunning, Rufus is in this situation. With that, they finally began preparations to apprehend Duke Alberea. Duke Alberea's actions against Celtic were believed to be in violation of a number of Imperial laws. With that fact as justification, Class 7 chose to call upon the aid of the 4th Armored Division and RMP to formally place him under arrest. In the end, they settled upon the following path. First, the 4th Armored Division would attack Berehard's northern line of defense. Meanwhile, the RMP would attack the city's southern line of defense, forcing them to call for reinforcements from Auroch's fort. This would give Class 7 the opportunity to attack the fortress, using the Courageous with relatively limited opposition. And once the fortress was under their control, they were to arrest Duke Alberea, effectively completing the mission. While all of this was being finalized, the remaining touches were put to Valamar's reinforced sword. The operation proved to be an opportune time to test it and collect much needed data.